Cool. Well, hey, I'm so glad that y'all are all here to do this with me. I am like super sore today. I'm going to go a little deeper than we normally go today. I'll add kind of like layers. And if something isn't working for you, just take a step back. I'm going to mute everybody. Do me a favor, leave your cameras off. And you can unmute yourself if you have a question. In my video. And let's start on our hands and knees today. If your knees are sensitive, put a blanket under your knees. And get your hands nice and spread out, all your fingers spread. Draw your shoulders back a little, and then take some really deep breaths. Keeping your fingers spread, try to turn your elbows so that they're pointing at your legs. And then as you inhale, keeping your elbows straight, turn your elbows out to the sides, and then turn them back in towards your legs. Trying to keep your hands extremely flat, fingers spread, shoulders together on your back, elbows tight. And as always, when you're exhaling, try to exhale fully, pressing every bit of air out of your body, drawing your belly button in towards your spine, activating the diaphragm. Okay, and then we're going to walk our hands forward, like one step, maybe 8 inches. And then we're going to sit our hips back, maybe halfway to our heels. And lay our forehead on the ground. And keep our arms under a little bit of tension. If you're feeling good, fingertip your fingers away a little bit. Opening up your shoulders and then breathe in into your upper back, keeping your elbows rolled to the sides. And then use your palms to begin to peel yourself off the floor. Pull yourself back to an all fours position. Keep your elbows tight, roll them towards your legs, and we'll do a little cat-cow. Start by tucking your hips under, drawing your belly button in. Hold on a second. And rounding your back up, trucking your chin, and then lifting your tailbone, tucking your lower back, and lifting your head and drawing your shoulders together. Always beginning with your hips and trying to follow with your breath. And finish with the action of the head. Follow your breath. We'll do like 3 to 5 more depending on your pace. And then let's drop ourselves onto our elbows. And you can push your hips back a little bit to take some pressure off the front of your shoulder. Make a thumbs up and turn your hands out to the sides a little bit and let your head drop. Take deep breaths, allow your shoulder blades to be driven together. And then put your palms down and walk yourself forward enough to lay your hips down on the ground. And then bring your elbows underneath your shoulders and try and flatten your palms. And this is a good position to stretch your neck. You can do a little shoulder to ear. And maybe some roll up, so you go shoulder to ear, chin down, shoulder to ear, head up. Reverse the direction. And then give your neck a break. And we're going to roll onto our left side. Bring our knees up to a right angle, matching our knees up perfectly, putting our hands straight out in front of us, drawing our shoulder blades together a little bit, and then reaching over your body with your top arm, keeping your knees squeezed together and matched up. Allow your body to open all the way, and your arm will either dangle in the air or rest on the ground. You can use your opposite hand to check with your knees, make sure they're still straight. You can also place that hand on the outside of your knee and press on it a little bit to create more tension. Take deep breaths, exhaling fully. If you're feeling comfortable and you want a more intense twist, you can stick out your tailbone a little bit, and it'll push the twist further towards your sacrum. You can also reach out with the hand that you're reaching with, energetically stretching the fingers, and then either letting the arm relax and reaching again, or keeping it reached and rotating the arm a little bit. We'll stay for maybe 5 or 6 more breaths. You can also reach up, like kind of like a half Y shape, and reach out in that direction a little bit to your comfort. And then let's make sure our hand is straight out to the side like when we started before we bring it back over our body. Placing our hands together and resting for just a moment. And then rolling onto our opposite side, our right side. We'll bring our knees up, make sure they're matched. Our hands are together. Our shoulders are back. And then we'll open up. Oh. Ooh. Allowing the arm to dangle or rest on the ground. Take deep breaths. Look right at that hand. And then check your knees with your opposite hand, possibly placing your hand on your knee to create a little bit more leverage. And if you're feeling comfortable, you can stick out your tailbone a little bit to increase the twist. And you can also reach out a little bit with your reaching arm. And either just reach and relax or twist. You can also reach up like a half Y and either relax or reach out and pull back. And then make sure your arms straight out like when you opened up, and carefully bring it back across your body. Resting a moment. And then rolling onto your back. We'll place our feet wide, about as wide as our mat, with our hands out to the sides, palms up, and roll our knees from one side over to the other in slow motion, allowing it to hit its furthest point, allowing, not forcing, and then rolling back the other way. Find a breathing pattern that works for you. I find that exhaling into the twist is pretty excellent. And we're just going to really take our time, maybe do 4 or 5 more each way. Try to feel like the surface of your hips rolling across the ground. You know, there's a kind of a line going around your hip that you're making the most contact with. And try to really feel where that is. Oh, I love that so much. I wish we could just do that the whole time, but we're not going to do that. We're going to bring the bottoms of our feet together and let our knees rest out to the side. Make any little adjustments that you need to make in order to feel like you're lined up. And then we're going to put our hands out to the sides and kind of bend them towards a goalpost position. And if they stop touching the ground, then don't go that far. Find somewhere where you can be pretty flat. And then as you're exhaling fully, press your forearms and the back of each finger and hand into the ground, holding the press for your entire exhale and relaxing and doing nothing as you inhale. And then keeping your arms on the ground, slide your elbows down until you feel maybe a little stretch in the front of your shoulder or you're not on the ground anymore. Take a deep breath. If there's any, pain or anything, definitely slide your hands back up a little bit. But as you're exhaling, press all your fingers, both hands, your wrists, and your forearms into the ground. And as you inhale, do nothing. And then we're going to slide our hands and elbows up, keeping our elbows bent, just kind of sliding our fingertips toward each other. And if you feel like your hips need a break, you can stop with that leg position and straighten your legs. But if you're fine, then it's fine. But with your hands closer together, possibly even with your fingertips touching, if your arms are on the ground, if they're not, open them up a little bit, open your elbows up a little bit until you find a place where everything's on the ground. When you find that spot, as you're exhaling, press your fingertips, your hands, your wrists, and your forearms into the ground. And as you inhale, do nothing. We're going to do this one a couple extra times. Okay, and then we're going to let our arms relax, and you can put them anywhere as long as they're palms up. And we're going to bring our feet back to the ground. And then we're gonna lift our toes. And then drop our toes, maybe stretching and spreading our toes. And lift our heels. Lifting them up high. Dropping our heels. Lifting our toes. Just possibly spreading and wiggling our toes. And just go back and forth at your own pace. Try to find a breath. If you're getting a little foot cramp, try to just go with it. And after you do a couple more, it should probably go away. I'm definitely having cramps in both of my feet today. I had the strangest experience today after working out. My chest and my triceps were just spasming like all day. My triceps were cramped for like a straight hour. Even for like the first 10 minutes of class. It was so excruciating and difficult to continue to stay in that position. But I did it, and we did it till they went away. But just in case you're worried, I took all my vitamins today and drank plenty of water. So I'm probably fine. Okay, let your feet relax. Let's cross our right ankle over onto our left leg. And then maybe put your hands on your hips and really try to feel that you're placing your hips down on the ground very evenly, despite having one leg up. If you move your foot further away from you to take the tension off, that's okay. If you're finding that it's extremely easy, you can move your foot a little bit closer to increase the tension. When you feel like you've found an even place, roll your hips away from you a little bit to create even more tension. And then press your big toe of your ground foot down and press that upper sideways knee away from you, as long as you can keep your hips on the ground pretty evenly. And that can be a lot to think about. So we're just going to take some deep breaths and do that. And just check in with your hips, make sure they're even. Your big toe is pressing into the ground. Your hips are rolling away from you. And your upper sideways knees pressing away. If you feel like you're pretty stable, you can take your hands off your hips and you can put them anywhere, palms up. And if you feel like it's a lot, you can just relax and stop, trying so hard. But if you feel good, you can challenge yourself. And we're going to do the extra long version today. If you're feeling like you're kind of bored, you can totally do like some foot winds or play with your toes. It's a great spot for that, but don't let your concentration come off of holding your position if you're going to play with your toes. Okay, we're gonna let that side relax and put both feet back on the ground. We can just rest for a second. Okay, now we're gonna cross our left ankle over onto our right knee. Make sure your toes press down on the ground. Find an even spot with your hips. It might be a lot more difficult or a lot more easy on this side. It's definitely a little more difficult for me. And then roll your hips away from you a little bit to increase the tension even more. And maintain your position. And check in with your big toe, feeling both hips on the ground, a little bit of tension, knee sideways pressing away. And then relax your hip. And take your foot off your knee. And we're going to take our hands up and let our legs relax and turn our toes out to the sides. I'm going to keep our elbows tight and inhale as we bring our arms back behind our head. Bring your arms back up, exhaling. Imagine trying to squeeze something in your armpits. I don't know what you would squeeze in your armpit. Maybe a whoopee cushion. Or a bagpipe. Not sure. But just make some tension there. And keep your elbows really tight. As long as you keep your elbows straight, your shoulder blades are going to move with your arms. Okay, and then relax your arms. Put them out anywhere to the side. And now it's my time for my favorite part of class, the part of class where we squeeze our glutes. Try to squeeze both of your glutes without tightening any other part of your body. Hold the squeeze once you get to the furthest point, and then try to relax in slow motion. If you feel like maybe your back or your stomach is tightening up with your glutes, you can put one hand on your stomach and or one hand under your back. And we're just going to take a few minutes to squeeze our glutes. And the reason we squeeze our glutes is because our glutes are an extremely important set of muscles, not only for our posture, but for every step that we take. Our glutes aren't able to participate. Parts of our back and legs have to imitate a particular action at the hip, which works pretty well. But if it happens for a long period of time, it can lead to a lot of problems and discomfort, which can typically be improved or avoided by just squeezing your glutes. I squeeze my glutes every day. Okay. And then we'll let our glutes relax. And let's get a hold of our strap. So go ahead and get your strap. And we're going to place it over 1 foot, actually, not in the regular spot. If your loop is pretty loose, like the clasp moves easily, you may want to just hold it over your foot so that you're holding one end in both hands. However, leave your other leg bent so that your foot's flat, and let your leg down so that you can feel both hips on the ground. And then straighten your leg and use the strap to assist you in finding a place where your hips are about to not be on the ground anymore because they'll move. The most important thing is keeping your hips on the ground the same way. And then it's keeping your foot straight. And then it's finding the highest point you can go to. And then it's drawing your shoulders back and taking some deep breaths. Okay, we've all adjusted a little bit. What we're going to do now is a little exercise. We'll do it 3 times and then we'll relax. What we're going to do is press our foot and leg kind of down against the strap and hold it with our arms, keeping our shoulders on the ground. We'll do it for 3 seconds, and then we'll relax our leg and pull it back with our arms, and it'll go a little bit further, and then we'll stay there. Now, this will open up your muscle, and it can make you sore. So if you already have a hamstring injury or anything like that, maybe just do it 1 time. And if you're not worried, you don't have to do it. However, I'm going to do it now. Begin pressing. 1, 2, 3, and then relax your leg and just pull it back a little. Take a couple deep breaths. And then we're going to press. We're going to make a lot of force, but not move. And press. 1, 2, 3. And then relax your leg and pull it back a little bit with your arms. Get ready to do it a final time. Pressing. 1, 2, 3. And just pulling your leg up. And then we're going to relax our leg. And let it be straight. Keep your other leg bent. Pull the toes back a little bit. And then turn your knee out to the side. And then turn it back and maybe to the inside a little bit. Okay, now we're going to bend that leg. And we're going to put our strap over our other foot. Now, your hamstrings are probably different. So don't just jump right on it and expect the same thing. Take a minute to find your hips on the ground. Straighten your leg. And begin pulling it back to kind of challenge the position of your hip. Making your foot straight, heels are on the ground, shoulders are back. Okay, we're going to do our little exercise again if you're willing. Beginning to press down, holding tight with the arms. 1, 2, 3. And relax your leg and just pull it back a little bit more. And here we go again. Pressing and pulling. 1, 2, 3. And just pull your leg, relaxing it. Making sure your shoulders are back and getting ready to press a final time. Here we go. Press. 1, 2, 3. And relax your leg, pulling it back. And then you can slip your strap off and straighten out your leg and pull your toes back and turn your knee out to the side and back in. Okay, now we're going to place our strap around our legs in the usual way, putting both legs through the loop, placing it over our thigh just above the knee, and tightening it so there's 3 to 5 inches of space between. And put our hands out somewhere to the side, anywhere that they can be palms up. Okay, what we're going to do now is press our lower backs flat to the floor. Not so much that our hips completely come off the ground, but firmly and completely. Keep your belly button a little drawn in too. Take some deep breaths, get used to it. It may require you to breathe a little bit less in your belly than you're used to. We're going to hold that position with our back and try to lift 1 foot off the ground. Any amount, possibly straightening our leg. Try not to disturb the strap. or our hips, definitely not our back, and then slowly putting it back on the ground. And we'll do it on the other side, keeping your back super flat and even. And carefully placing it back on the ground. So we're going to go back and forth for a minute, trying our absolute best to keep our hips super stable and our back extremely flat to the ground. I find that pressing on the strap while doing it makes it a little more rewarding in that it's a little easier. Do a few more on each side. Challenge yourself. And then we're just going to press all our toes into the ground and press out on the strap, keeping our back and stomach completely relaxed. And relaxing your hips and pressing again. Let's do it while we exhale. And then let's keep our strap on unless you're far from your wall. And if you're not, just position yourself with your legs up the wall. And if you're not close, then you can like take it off and relocate and re-equip your strap. And that'll just keep us from feeling the need to roll our toes out to the side while we're doing this. Find a place where your hips are definitely on the ground. And we're just going to spend a significant amount of time with our legs up. We worked kind of hard on some stuff. and we did our best. So we're just going to spend the last portion of class with our legs up, being with ourselves. Okay, let's start to wiggle our toes. We'll maybe palm up and down and bend our knees. And wiggle around a little bit. And slip your strap off, probably. And then maybe roll away from the wall. And land somewhere kind of flat before you get up. Let your hips kind of relax. Don't do any extra wiggling or twisting. And eventually start to work your way up to like a seated position, or I guess you could stay on the ground if you want. I'm super glad that you guys could spend this time with me today. I feel so much better, and I hope you do too.